everyone, my name is Lucia Anelich from Anelich Consulting, but actually also from the Food Safety Summit. And I am really very pleased today to have with me a guest who's going to be speaking at the summit. And of course, he's going to be speaking on the product recalls that we are currently seeing in South Africa. So Janusz Luterek, welcome from Hahn Hahn Attorneys. And of course, he's an expert on food law, particularly food law in South Africa as well. So Janusz, thank you for being with us today to talk about, product recalls and the National Consumer Commissioner and all the things that are related. So tell us a little bit about the Consumer Protection Act and the role of the National Consumer Commissioner when it comes to product recall.
Yes, of course. You know, this peanut butter recall has taken up so much of my life the last 2 months. You know, one can almost just imagine how much time it takes up. So let's first of all clarify, many people would believe that a food product recall would be something that would have been organized by the Department of Health, and in particular the Directorate of Food Control. But that is in fact not the case. The Department of Health has no authorities to order a recall. They can order specific batches of products which they have examined not to be sold any further, but they cannot order a general product recall. Products recall fall under the Consumer Protection Act, and it is in terms of those powers that the National Consumer Commission have that the current peanut butter recalls are taking place.
Right, yes, absolutely. So the NCC would only also be involved with recalls at consumer level, right? Because, I mean, trade recalls is a completely different situation.
Sure. Look, we need to distinguish in terminology. Yeah. A recall is defined as recalling back from the consumer. What companies often refer to as trade recalls is actually simply a withdrawal from trade. It's not actually a recall. Recall is goes a lot further and is a lot more than just a withdrawal from trade. And what has happened in this particular instance, there were some manufacturers that thought it would be sufficient to simply tell all the retailers just return the product, yet leaving the product with the consumers that may have been contaminated with aflatoxin.
Yes, okay, perfect. Now that actually clarifies things quite nicely. So you mentioned that the Department of Health doesn't have the authority to actually conduct a recall or enforce a recall, if you like, but surely the Department of Health also has a role to play.
So in terms of the hygiene and food safety regulations, I'm not sure if that's a correct full name, R638, the only obligation is to inform the Directorate of Food Control and the EHP in the area where the facility is located of the fact that you're conducting a recall. You're not asking them whether you should do a recall. You inform them that you're doing a recall once the decision has been made to do the recall. In practice, the decision tends to lie with the actual retailer or manufacturer, because although the Consumer Protection Act does provide the National Consumer Commission, the NCC, with the power to order a recall, in practice, all the recalls we are seeing are voluntary recalls. They are recalls initiated by a manufacturer or a retailer on the basis of their own analytical results, which has led them to do the responsible thing and to recall the product. Yes. And we must understand that the NCC has no technical capability. Correct. They are legal and administrative, so they would have no way of knowing whether the peanut butter sold across the road from the NCC at the local retailer complies or doesn't comply. It is the retailer that puts his hand up and says, we've got a problem, this product we are selling has now turned out to be non-compliant, we need to do a recall.
Right, that's actually a good point that you've just raised, because that is part and parcel of the product recall panel discussion that we are going to be holding, is how do we ensure that the NCC, for example, has got good technical information that it is receiving in order to be able to communicate accurately, not only to industry, but to the consumer as well. So once again, thank you for this wonderful introduction to our product recall session. We're going to have some really great other experts that have been involved in the recall and that can give us first-hand information of the kind of experience they've had. So thank you, Janusz, and we look forward to you having a talk, giving a talk actually, at this product recall session as an introduction to the rest of the panel discussion on the day. So you can go and visit us on foodsafetysummit.co.za. You can have a look at which day the product recall session is actually being held, and please don't hesitate to ask any questions whatsoever. Thank you very much, and thank you again, Janusz Luterek from Hahn Hahn Attorneys.
Thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you all at the summit.